Hey guys, and welcome to the Invar Technologies Podcast, a podcast where we interview top-level executives inside leading and growing companies. We're excited to have our guest today, Bill Crimmel. We'll be diving into his story, a little bit about what his company Forever Oceans does, and some engaging insights into the seafood and food production industry. So I'll go ahead and just kick it off to you, Bill. If you could just introduce yourself, tell a quick snippet of your story and your background prior to working at Forever Ocean.
Sure. Thanks for the invite. It's fun to be on this podcast, get to reach people and talk about our products. But a little bit about me, very diverse background. I've done hospitality, 5-star ski resort, then into some cybersecurity. I got the pleasure of being employee number one on the board of directors for a messaging company with working with Elton John and the WWE in South Park. But besides that, high school football coach and volunteer with kids with cancer. So I mean, like I've been around the block, you can kind of say. But that's what's landed me, at Forever Oceans. And basically, I get to joke, I'm a fish farmer.
I love it. I love it. How was it that you got into, the seafood world? What was it about, kind of the industry that you're passionate and kind of about your job as well?
Awesome. So basically, was in the cybersecurity world, and helping people and, Fortune 500 companies. And a friend of a friend basically said, hey, we're looking for this director for the DevOps CIO role to come into Forever Oceans. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of like, Forever what? And it was really neat because basically, I'm used to hearing the stories of these fish being raised like right offshore. You could see them. The salmon farmers up in Chile, or, down in Chile or up in Norway and stuff. These guys, they were 10 miles offshore. I mean, they're in the ocean and they're not going out and catching fish. They're growing fish from egg to plate, the entire process. So they weren't stealing from the environment. There are a lot of people who go out and they go get tuna and they wrangle them up in the big nets and they drag them somewhere and then they grow them. These guys weren't doing that. But then when I did more research, that cattle, I'm not going to pick on the cattle guys and don't need to beat up on them, but, between the barps and the burps and the farts, those things, those guys create a lot of methane. Fish don't. Greenhouse gases. Mm-hmm. They want to replace protein. Outside the U.S., man, the world eats a lot of fish. Yeah. I did not know that. So when I got the opportunity to join, was like, gosh, I get to go work for a company that's kind of saving the world and you're going to pay me? So guess what? You don't get an opportunity very often to kind of get into that type of a world that passion and work kind of merge together. So I landed at Forever Oceans. And so, yeah, being the CIO and, working with senior, with my colleagues and the CTO, taking fish farming, hello, yoo-hoo, and bringing modern day tech, Kubernetes, cloud infrastructure, mobility, scalability. Awesome. And that's the fun about it. And the people I work with are just amazing.
Yeah. No, you love to hear it, and it's I can hear the passion, and it's always nice to hear that, when someone's found that fulfillment in life, right? Where it's like, this is what I was meant to do. This is I love the mission that you're obviously sort of sounding out to do with Forever Oceans. I'm curious though, where do you think some of the trends that we're seeing right now inside the market, in particularly with the seafood industry, what is it that you're currently noticing, or kind of what are you?
Well, it's awesome. So one of the big ones is just about everybody in the seafood world has run into the number one problem and welcome Mother Nature. Whether it's the warming waters around up in the northern, for the salmon farmers, the dams that are blocking salmon from swimming up the rivers, basically habitat that people were using, whether, like I said, the cold water, that's shrinking. And I'm not going to get into global warming and pointing fingers here or there. It's all just a matter of life. So for us, we're warm water. So we're down in the Panama, in the Indonesia and Brazil.
Mhm.
We're in the warm water, but the water even we're in is getting warm. So the trends are really around monitoring and using technology to pre-act, not be, reactive, but we use the word pre-act. If something happens and the water starts to warm up, the fish will go deeper in the water. So we know that the feeding system is going to take longer to get down to them. Or if there's something where there's an outbreak of algae or whatever, it's amazing to see the different technologies. Algae's gonna start breaking out in the next 72 hours in this location, move the fish. But how do you know it's going to happen? Well, that's where the different patterns in machine learning and AI allow you to say, hey, there's a good chance it's going to break out there. And you'll see the other companies with boats that are out there, they'll just start moving. Like, don't even tell the captain, just move the boat to get out of the way. So technology really is enabling the food, whether it's the clam shells or the fish or whatever. Technology is allowing for a healthier product. Technology is enabling a faster growing product.
Yeah.
And then lastly, technology is making fish farming easier, not necessarily harder.
Yeah.
And so trends are versus people kind of going, here, little fishy, and throwing food out to there like we do in our little fish tanks, is we have AI that looks at fish health and how fish swim, and we're actually beginning to look at feed the fish, stop feeding fish. They're full. It's these type of things that I'm not going to replace people's jobs. I'm going to make it more efficient.
Yeah.
And so, technology and aquaculture really do go hand in hand.
Yeah. And that the great points that you bring up, because I can definitely see how they kind of intertwine with each other and really help accelerate the growth, right? The growth of technology is obviously just also able to grow the industry as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about some of the main products that are offered by Forever Ocean, or kind of, just a quick synopsis of the company?
Sure. Well, it's super, super simple. It's a kind of fish called campache. We do frozen and fresh. I don't want to be the marketing guy, but it really is the amberjack family of tuna. It's one of the subspecies, and it's literally prized for its sushi. People want it for sushi. It tastes amazing. It's this rich, nutty, smooth, flaky feature, and it's really funny because you catch the fish, you cook it, don't put anything on it. It's amazing. Put it in the fridge for 2 days. It's the best sashimi fish you'll ever have. So, like I said, from egg to plate, either fresh or frozen. And we're just one of the small ones, but we are actually the largest commercial producer of campache.
Interesting.
And so, and we're going to start getting into other species soon. Whether it's a grouper or a snapper type of a fish, depending upon what regions in the world you live in. Indonesia, grouper and snapper are huge.
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan.
This is why I joined. It's one species. The second side is, imagine if you would have this plot of land, but put it in the ocean, and you put your fish only in 1/10 of it. What do you do with the other pieces of the land or the water? We're going to start growing. We're looking at planting huge seaweed to absorb the CO2. And then a couple places have said, hey guys, could we create a dive national park for divers underwater so they can go scuba diving and see things. So it's really the products that we sell, it's fish. I'm not going to lie, that's where the money is. But it's beyond the fish that makes this type of a company special. So
got it.
There you go. That's my marketing pitch.
I love it. And my follow-up was going to be around kind of the, because I know we were talking a little bit about it off camera, but I always like to ask kind of like, the unique value that your products really bring to your consumers. But I know you kind of just touched on it a little bit right now. Is there anything else that you would add to that?
Well, imagine if you would, so there's two big ones, right? As the world evaluates greenhouse gases, and I love the GHG, which is the terminology, right? How much does Tesla generate? How much does the new Honda Accord or the households or China or whatever it is? And we've actually done some studies. So the Aquaculture Stewardship Council can go out and certify you. And that's what they've done. We actually hold a certification from the Aquaculture Stewardship Council. Everybody's going to go look it up real quick because it'll be interesting to see. But roughly, we are 50 to 70% less GHG gases than cattle. And then our competitors, which let's call salmon, were at least 10% less than them. Our impact on the environment due to deep water, you're 10 miles off, we leverage the environment to create the minimal impact. And that's why the deep ocean is such a nice place to be, because currents and other things allow you to not have to put medication on the fish. So that's where like the benefits of our products are much more natural, less impactful to the environment. And yeah, we would like to see at some point, replacing some cattle in the future because you eat more fish.
Yeah.
So
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love the way that you explain it as well. We're obviously a technology company over here at Invar, and we always like to get, have our guests kind of shed some light on some of the technology challenges that they really see in whatever industry that they may be operating. So I wanted to get your opinion on kind of the biggest challenges that you're really seeing right now within the industry of be it seafood or food overall.
Easily put, how to deal with Mother Nature. Because past 20 years, it's never been this way. But as you move from being that on like close to shore, the 500 meters, kilometer offshore for the salmon or the mollusks or the whatever they're going to grow, right? And you get further out, now the technology either needs to be independent or you need somebody to give you internet access. Internet out in the ocean is not cheap and it's not super duper fast. So for us, we were heavy in AWS, whether it was the AI doing cameras, looking at the cameras to tell us the size of fish, because our AI will size our fish for us and tell us how many we have and all that stuff. Or you're running the different aspects of turning on the feeder, turning on the generator, doing those things, right? Now, as we get further and further offshore, we can't depend on AWS. So then you get into things like I need to have local on-prem resources. Kubernetes is a great environment. Allows you to interface to your generators and offer basically a mini AWS within your own little clusters. So that's been our biggest struggle, is how do you disconnect from the world of technology because you're not in an area that's connected very well. And a lot of times we're in the other parts of those warm water areas where there's not a lot of infrastructure.
Got it.
So are there a lot of cell towers around us? No. We actually use, we have our own wireless, our own 4G that we had to build.
Wow.
So as you get away from the land and you go into the water, there's always that problem of how am I going to alert, track, monitor the open ocean, El Nino, La Nina, tsunami. Business continuity planning is, hey, we have a tsunami coming. Oh, what are we going to do about the fish? Or a really bad rainstorm. And the boat goes out there and it's, the boat's going up and down on 8, 10, 12-foot waves. And you're like, oh my gosh, I fear for the staff to a certain extent. No, the independence on the ship says fish need food, feed. So that's where disconnecting, like I said, Kubernetes and other technologies within that clustering really do make life easy, but it's always the challenge.
Yeah. And I think, it's so interesting to hear the perspective of, someone who's obviously got hands-on experience with dealing with Mother Nature, right, and kind of the different aspects that come with that, right? And like you said, I can't imagine what it's like having to really, you may have goals for a month, and then all of a sudden you got a tsunami that's derailing you, right? It's just totally out of your control. There's not even really much you can do, but be able
Yep.
to prepare for it, right? And I'm sure that that's part of your
Yep.
guys' planning. I mean, my follow up was going to be, what are the some of the challenges in operating a seafood company, and I think you really just hit the nail on the head with what I would think you would answer. But where would you say that you have some advice that kind of has helped you guys really be able to prepare for those natural disasters, or be able to prepare for whatever may come your way? What advice could you give in that regard?
Um, we ideas, the ideas in innovation.
Hmm.
Innovation comes from everybody, from the lowest level person in the company to the highest person in the company. One of the beauties of it is the outside the business people, the fishermen, the commercial fishermen, the people who know things, and working with them and saying hey, for us to make great business decisions, we need more information.
Hmm.
But a lot of times we're all a little stubborn. I know everything I need to know. I'm good. Don't bother me. No, you don't.
Hmm.
I can tell you in the past, since I've been with the company, 18, 19, 20 months ago. Hey, how do you grow Campache at 10 miles off the coast? Mm, you know? And so you're learning on the go. But on land, our business continuity plans, our disaster recovery things, they're really static.
Hmm.
I know what I'm going to expect, so I know what to do when this hits me. Being offshore, being in the food production, what do you do if your products get sick? What
Yeah.
if they encounter a new strain or a virus? You just can't run out there with, the vet doctor and start injecting the things with all whatever you think, because I don't know what it is. So really, honestly, lots of communication, lots of documentation, lots of innovation.
Yeah.
Innovation's failing. The more you fail, the better you get at it.
Yeah. And that it's such a great point. It always comes back to, I think someone said it best. If you don't have a plan, your plan is to fail, right? And it's so true. Like if you don't have anything that's in place, that's like
Mm-hmm.
the documentation, the processes to make sure that when this does happen, what do we do then, right? Because it's not a matter of when, it's a matter. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, right? And so having those processes in place, like that's to the point of like cybersecurity, right? And having those measures in place. So I think a lot of times companies that we engage with, or companies that we talk to, they think of, oh, it's never going to happen to us, right? Like the cyber, a breach or whatever it may be, it's never gonna happen to us. We're okay. And it's in most cases it's a matter of when. And when that does
Yep.
happen, when someone does click on that link, or when something does occur like that, what is it that you have in the protocol to make sure that you're able to alienate those risks and be able to keep your organization safe, right, essentially. And
Mhm.
you know I guess I'm curious to kind of where you guys are currently looking to either implement new technologies, or is there anything that you kind of have on your roadmap that you're really looking to implement in terms of systems or technologies within the company?
Well, you bring up a great point. Okay, so the cybersecurity. So how do you protect from pirates on the ocean?
Hmm.
Oh, hang on a second. That's not in my playbook. I know pirates in the ocean. What do you do if, how do you protect the fish from being stolen by a fisherman just coming up and taking them out of the thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go get Bill's Navy and we're going to sail around our, the little, ships to protect things. Really honestly is automation and orchestration. So, our ability to put the resources that were up in the cloud down on the boat or down on the barge or right next to the product, right, that's being produced, and let decisions and actions happen there, right? We kind of laugh a little bit. Uh, we have the four pillars of our plans. You make the plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to go off the rails, and throw away the plan, and you start over again.
Yeah.
Um, but I mean, like, it's really fun to work with people who are passionate about what they do.
Mhm.
So that collaboration, that communication, I could tell you, let's go get a UM773 and put Kubernetes, a K3S infrastructure on it, and we're going to load it up with this much memory and put this kind of hard drive in it, and it's going to sit over here on the barge, and there's two of them, and they're clustered, and there's high availability. Well, what are you going to do for communications? Oh, we're going to go grab, that guy who gives satellite internet. I'm not going to mention the name, but the satellite internet. We'll put it on the barge, and we're going to do all these things. And well, what's your cybersecurity? What's your? I mean, at some point, you have to go do. And the earlier that you do, the faster you can react to what's broken. So for us, it isn't about a specific technology. Give me a waterproof cell phone that runs my little cluster on it and put it out on the barge, or give me faster internet connection. This is honestly, pirates trying to take over the barge. I don't have anything for that from a technology standpoint.
Yeah.
But when the business said it, let me go get some FLIR cameras. Let me get some motion activated day cameras. And we'll tell the camera system, if you see action in these sections, alert somebody.
Yeah.
Right? So again, technology for us is the ultimate enabler.
Mhm.
And then someone will ask me, enable what? Enable progress.
Wow. Yeah. I
So,
like that. I like that. Technology enables progress. What type of mindset is needed to be a successful CIO? What is it that what do they have to adopt in terms
okay, let's see. How many hats do I have here? First and foremost, I'm a military brat. So basically, the first one is you think you think like a very high end person. I don't tell you the how to do something. I give you a mission plan. Let's say I give you engagement rules. I don't define the nitty gritty, and I tell you go forth and prosper. Right? The smart people below you, they'll fill in the rest.
Mhm.
Progress has failure. We're good. But more so as the CIO, it's the sitting with the business people, with business unit leaders, with the CEO, with the CFO, with the CMO, the CHRO, all the people. What do you need? What do you want? And when you do that, you pull out your little Freudian book and go, tell me about your mother and how you feeling and all the things, because you have to live in the we. This is the one thing we do. We live in the we ignore the I.
Mhm.
Because if we don't communicate and we don't collaborate and we don't work together, we won't succeed.
Yeah.
So it's that fortune teller, it's the psychologist, and the last one, and the most important one, the realization that the biggest asset that any company, the biggest asset we have at Forever Oceans and everywhere I've worked, the biggest asset we have is not the fish in the water that makes us millions and millions of dollars. It's the other way around. It's the one that costs us $1 million to pay.
Yeah. Human capital.
That team, and those are all systems to me. I manage these systems by talking to Alejandro or talking to Sarah or talking to Mike, and I get the feedback from you. I see the little errors going across your little error log. You're having a bad Monday, you're having a bad Tuesday, whatever. But if that team is humming, everything else is working.
Yeah.
So you end up being a business fortune teller, psychologist, partner
Yeah.
who can build and engage and energize a team of people
Yeah.
to do one thing. And this is what it's called, the 3 F's in my world. Fail, flipping fast. I use a different word in the middle there. Fail by the end of the day, don't fail by the end of the month.
Yeah.
And that's innovation.
Yeah.
And in fish farming, that's daily, almost hourly.
Yeah.
What do we do next? Tsunami's coming. Oh gosh, what do you? So that's the mindset of a CIO. I would probably, if you talk to a bunch of us, we'd all be kind of in the same framework.
Yeah.
But it really is whether you work for us as an employee or you're a partner, just like your company, is if we ain't talking, we ain't progressing.
Yeah.
Pull a little cowboyism out there, but
No,
so that's my mindset, is
I
you have to
love
be
it.
all of those.
Yeah, well, no, I think that's important that you touch on that, because I think sometimes people think, CIO, or they think CTO, and it's just, oh, he's got to be good with technology. It's like, yeah, that's a prerequisite. But
Mhm.
I think you obviously touched on the other aspects of the job, of what it requires, and how it requires you to not only understand technology, but understand people, and understand how to use technology with these people, and how to make sure that, the processes are in place. And I think that that's a phenomenal point that sometimes people forget, and I'm glad that you brought it to the forefront of people's minds, because I would agree, wholeheartedly that those are some of the most important characteristics of a successful CIO.
Mhm.
What's I don't like to say 5 to 10 year plan, because it's a little bit too far out. But what is the vision for the next 12 months? What's on the
Oh
horizon?
no, our vision is probably the next 12 days, maybe 14 days. No, I mean, like, here's the big part for a company that farms fish. Let me go find the nope, I can't find the expert. So it's learning on the run. It's whatever. Now, I could tell you, hey, we want to invest in more in AI because we have video, I mean, tens of hundreds of thousands of hours of fish swimming. Tell me when they're sick. Tell me when they're hungry. Tell me when they're not hungry. Tell me when they're the right size. We can invest in a new special Hoover vacuum that will suck them out of the water nice and gently and process them nicely and cut the perfect fillet for the customer to have,
Yeah.
right? Um, but more so, how do we grow our fish as financially responsible as we can, not as cheap as we can, financially responsible, and not impact the environment? It's a big one. Our CEO said, dude, I don't know how. I'm asking the team, carbon neutral 2028. I will not tell you how because I don't know, but let's do it. Let's shoot for the date. And we all went, that's like 4 years from now. He's like, yep, come back and tell us how. So the forecasting isn't around, let's make 200 million. Yes, we have that. Let's make a lot of money. But let's also grow fish in a way that the environment doesn't get impacted by us. Pick the technologies, pick the operational, pick the processes. And that's our vision, right?
Yeah.
If I told you, yeah, we're going to roll out the new feeding system that feeds 500 kilograms of food in a minute. We actually have the largest feeding system right now in the market. It's 350 kilograms a minute. That's like paintball level crazy. But I mean, like, so I really can't answer the question of what's the next 12 months like, because I can't tell you what the next 12 days is going to be like.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough, Bill. It's been a pleasure getting the chance to know with you, getting a chance to know you, and get to hear a little bit more about what you guys are doing at Forever Oceans. I definitely think it's something unique, something I haven't heard of before. I love the passion behind the mission, and also love the passion that you have for your job and the industry. Before we go ahead and wrap up, I usually like to ask one final question to kind of just
Sure.
I know you've been dropping a little bit some nuggets of wisdom throughout the whole podcast, but if you could just tell me some of the most important things that you've learned in your career that you'd be willing to share with the audience.
This will cause people to go, no, 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 don't do that. For sure, you will get burned by under communicating more than you will get burned by over communicating. People don't like to talk because they're afraid of what may happen. Imagine what'll happen if I don't talk to you. Your expectation is only as good as my last update. So in the years I've been doing this, talk, communicate. But that talk and communication should be in collaboration with the people down low and the people up high and your colleagues and everybody around you. Technology for technology's sake is not a solution. As much as we want to be the technology guys and roll something out that's really cool. And the last one for you is your staff, your people who work for you are your greatest asset and your weakest link.
Hmm. Yeah. I love it. I love it, man. It's been a pleasure, man.
No, it's been a great pleasure. Thank you for inviting me to do this with you. It's been a ton of fun.
yeah,
It's exciting
yeah,
to share. So
yeah.
yes, thanks again.
No, no problem, man. And if people are listening to this and they obviously want to reach out to you, they want to either talk with your company or talk with yourself. What are some of the best ways to kind of go about that?
You can hit me up on LinkedIn. You can hit me up on my email, bill.crimmel@foreveroceans.com. Yes, you'll probably spam me. That's fine. I'll just mark it as spam. No, but I mean, like those are the two best ways,
Got it.
to find me. But a lot of, and again, going back to the first thing I really told you, communicate, talk. So
Got
reach
it.
out. I'd be
Yeah.
glad to talk to anybody.
Great. Thanks again, Bill. And thank you guys. If you did watch it all the way to the end, we do appreciate that. And make sure to comment, like, and subscribe for more related content. We hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thank you again, Bill.
Thanks you guys for everything.